Good evening, everyone. Legislative Day number 19 will now come to order. Let's all
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chairman asked me to make a few comments about what's going on in the Middle East, Israel, and Gaza. And so thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to say that I want us to think about during our moment of silent meditation and prayer of the people in Gaza and the people in Israel that were murdered. It impacts all of us. It impacts me personally. My parents were both Holocaust survivors, and they were dragged from their homes some 70 years ago. Both my mom and my dad, their family were dragged from their homes and taken to other places. Many were killed. And who would have thought that some 70 years later, families would be pulled from their homes and being killed? And it affects all of us, even people you don't expect that it affects. For example, I was at an event with Delegate Harry Bandari, where 17 Nepalese students were at a kibbutz studying, college students at a kibbutz studying, 17 of them. And of those 17, 10 were killed, 4 were injured, and 1 is missing. And then the one that was not hurt initially, certainly at the loss of his fellow student, is suffering in pain. It affects Councilman Marx's family. Councilman Marx's son was on a tour of Israel, and his tour guide was killed, beheaded. So this is something that we all need to think about. We need to really pray for our fellow humans in that part of the world. And just want to thank you for giving me a moment to speak, and hope that you'll join me in the prayer.
thank you. Let's pause for a moment of silent meditation. Thank you. I'll now call upon Councilman Young to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the republic which stands, the nation under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you. There a motion to approve the journal for the meeting of October the 2nd? So moved. There a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. The journal is approved. Enrollment of bills. Bills 55-23, 56-23, 57-23, 58-23, 59-23, 60-23, 61-23, 62-23, 64-23, 65-23, and 66-23 were passed by the council, signed by the executive, and hereby enrolled. Mr. Secretary, will you now read all bills for introduction?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. First bill for introduction this evening is Bill 81-23, sponsored by Council Members Marks and Crandall, demolition of unsafe structures. And the final bill for introduction this evening is Bill 82-23, sponsored by Councilman Catch, speed monitoring systems, school zone definition.
All right, thank you very much. We'll now move on to final reading and vote of bills. Mr. Secretary, first item, please.
Mr. Chairman, Bill 63-23 was withdrawn by the sponsor prior to this evening's meeting. Next would be Bill 67-23. This is a bill entitled Flood Insurance Rate Maps Conforming Legislation.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to final reading and vote of bills. Mr. Secretary?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Yes, that is Bill 67-23, Flood Insurance Rate Maps Conforming Legislation.
Thank you. Mr. Gutwell?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council. Bill 6723 repeals and replaces the flood insurance rate maps currently in the county code with references to newer maps in accordance with the Federal Emergency Management Agency requirements. These maps are used by FEMA to provide flood insurance and are used by local jurisdictions to regulate activity in the floodplain. In accordance with the FEMA regulations, the county has completed a multi-year project to update Baltimore County's flood zones and develop detailed flood hazard maps. FEMA initiated revisions to these maps in 2019, and in concert with DPWT and PAI, this update process has included extensive public outreach and comments, and as well as appeal periods for impacted properties. Any properties that were affected either way, in or out of the floodplain, were notified at least twice, and any projects that were in the pipeline were notified of these preliminary maps over a year ago. The department advised that in order to remain eligible for FEMA assistance and in order for county residents to qualify for FEMA flood insurance, the county must adopt the final maps issued by FEMA by November 2nd, 2023. Concludes my.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the members? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 67-23. Aye.
Sorry, my mic was off. Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Bill 67-23 is passed. Secretary, next item, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 68-23, Current Expense Budget, OAA American Rescue Plan.
Hey, Ms. Riley?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of federal funds totaling $31,273 to the Older Americans Act Rescue Plan 3B, 3C1, 3C2, and 3CE Gifts and Grants Fund Programs. These funds will be used to continue services that we already provide. This was a redistribution of funds at the state level to be added to what we had already gotten in 2021. So it will be used for caregivers, nutrition programs, and evidence-based activities.
Thank you, Ms. Riley. Are there any questions or comments from the members? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 68-23.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Bill 68-23 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 69-23, Building Improvement Loan Fund.
Mr. Jacobs?
Evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. Bill 6923 is going to basically move the administration of the Building Improvement Loan Program from the Planning Department to the Department of Economic and Workforce Development. This program provides 0% loans for exterior improvements in the commercial revitalization districts in the county.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jacobs. Are there any questions or comments from the members? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 58-23.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel? Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Bill 58-23 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next is Bill 70-23, Human Relations Prohibition Practices and Human Relations Commission Procedures.
All right, Ms. Peoples?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the County Council. The administration is requesting legislative amendment to several Article 29 provisions that govern and provide the Human Relations Commission with its authority. The the Human Relations Commission, founded in 1963, serves to support human and civil rights, particularly in the areas of education, employment, housing, finance, and public accommodations. The commission receives and mitigates complaints related to these areas and has the authority to conduct investigations when warranted. This legislative amendment would accomplish the following: to codify a longstanding practice whereby complaints alleging housing, financial, education, or public accommodations, discrimination, or employment discrimination against any employer with 15 or more employees with discretion are referred to the Maryland Commission on Civil Rights or Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This bill would also clarify prohibitions to ensure that the mistreatment of or discrimination against a patron in the course of conducting business is an eligible complaint that may be filed against a business in cases where the good or service has been provided. And last, as per feedback received from several of the council members in accordance with national best practices, this bill would empower the commission to establish a fee and/or take legal action against entities who fail to respond to a subpoena within a designated period of time. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I understand there's an amendment, Mr. Secretary.
There is, Mr. Chairman. There are two substantive changes submitted by the administration. The first, in the bill currently, it states that the executive director shall consider complaints filed under this article, except that for complaints alleging employment discrimination against an employer with 15 or more employees, the director may, in exercising their discretion, refer the complaint to the Maryland Commission on Civil Rights or the U.S. EEOC. The amendment would add, in addition to employment discrimination, housing, education, financial, or public accommodations discrimination to the category of complaints. And then that can be moved on to the Commission on Civil Rights or the U.S. EEOC. And then second, as part of authorized actions in response to a decision or order of the commission, a section would be added to this subsection of the law, the Human Relations Commission procedure, that would state that as part of an action to enforce compliance with a decision and order of the commission, the county attorney may seek to have a court impose a civil penalty within the limits specified in section 10202 of the local government article of the Maryland Code, including a civil penalty of up to $5,000 for employment discrimination or public accommodation discrimination.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments on the amendment? I don't know if we dispose of the amendment. The amendment? Moved. Is there a second on the amendment? Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment to Bill 70-23.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel? Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The amendment to Bill 70-23 has passed. Now, are there any questions or comments on the Bill 70-23 as amended? Councilman?
No questions. I wanted to commend you, Ms. Peoples, and the members of the Human Relations Commission. I attended the 60th anniversary reception for the commission, which, as many of you know, was created under the Agnew administration, and in the past 6 decades has expanded opportunities for all Baltimore Countyans, worked on mediation and human relations, and has been a valuable tool as we work to make this a more equitable county. It was an outstanding reception, and I want to thank all of you for your efforts, and all those who've served over the past 6 decades.
Thank you, sir.
Any additional questions or comments from the members? All right, Mr. Secretary, is there a motion to approve Bill 70-23 as amended?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Ayes have it. Bill 70-23 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Chairman and members of the council, is Bill 71-23, sponsored by Councilman Young, Bring Your Own Bag Act, reusable carryout bag definition.
Councilman Young?
Chairman, stated previously, bill updates the law that we passed probably about 9 months ago, meeting industry standards as well as addressing other concerns that were brought up since the passage of the initial bill. Vote for a favorable report and vote.
Thank you very much. Any additional questions or comments on Bill 71-23? I will only add that this is one of the other bills that are being brought forth that's really almost like not a significant change, but somewhat of a, what would we call it, cleaning up, clarifying some of the open items that were on the bill. So, is there a motion to approve Bill 71-23? Been moved. Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 71-23.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel? Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Marks?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Bill 71-23 has passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next is Bill 72-23, sponsored by Councilman Marks, Bring Your Own Bag Act, paper carryout bag definition.
Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. Bill 7223 sets forth a definition for a paper carryout bag. Among other provisions, the bill includes a list of times when paper bags are excluded from the definition, including a paper bag used for packaged bulk items, including fruit, vegetables, nuts, grains, and candy. Second, contain unwrapped prepared foods or bakery goods. Or third, contain prescription drugs provided by a pharmacist. Lastly, the definition states that a paper bag provided by a food service facility as necessary to meet food safety and contamination standards is not considered a carryout bag.
Thank you very much, Councilman Marks. Any questions or comments from the members? Again, this bill is another clarification. So, their motion to approve?
Chair, if I may, sorry.
Absolutely.
In the spirit of clarification that you've mentioned, can I call upon our Secretary, Mr. Bostwick, to reiterate the language that we discussed and that you discussed in the work session regarding food service facilities and paper bags that is spelled out in 7223.
Yes, sir, Mr. Crandall and members of the council. As Mr. Marks indicated, the definition of paper carryout bag is basically gets its genesis from the definition of a plastic carryout bag for the purposes of being charged the 5-cent fee. I believe the bill sponsor felt it was prudent to also have a definition for a paper carryout bag, and it fairly mimics the definition of a plastic carryout bag. It does not include quite as many situations where a paper carryout bag does not include, such as Mr. Marks indicated, the bulk items, the unwrapped prepared or baked goods, and the prescription drug bags. But both the definition of a plastic carryout bag, which was in Bill 1-23 originally and was part of the bill that was passed, as well as this current bill, both have the same statement that in Bill 123, a plastic bag, and now in Bill 72-23, a paper bag provided by a food service facility that is necessary to meet food safety and contamination standards. So that is meant to aid food service facilities that, in order to do that, meet food safety and contamination standards, they essentially need to use either a plastic bag, again, as was indicated in Bill 123, or a paper bag, as indicated in Bill 72-23, in order to meet those requirements. And they will be able to do that and make that part of, so they do not need to charge, and that is not part of the prohibition.
Thank you, Mr. Bostwick. You covered the points that I was hoping that you would cover.
Thank you, sir. Probably more than you asked for.
No,
Thank you.
actually, you got to exactly what I wanted clarification on originally, and I just wanted that read into the record.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bostwick. Councilman Patoka?
Just for more clarification, Mr. Boswick, so the impact on a convenience store or a fast food restaurant does this impact the 123 on those establishments?
I believe it does. Fast food would have been able to argue the same provision in 123 related to plastic carryout bags as being as not including a bag provided by a food service facility necessary to meet food safety and contamination standards. A food service facility, which I believe includes a fast food establishment or a convenience store serving food, such as a Royal Farm or a Wawa, they would be able to, if they make the case and if they make the argument persuasively that they need to use a paper or a plastic bag to meet food safety and contamination standards, they can do that and use a paper or plastic bag and not charge their customer a fee. I think when we were discussing it, one part that might have a little gray area is, what if you're just buying a bag of chips at the Royal Farm store and you're going to the checkout? In that sense, they are not using a paper or plastic bag to meet food safety and contamination standards. So they would either not be able to provide a plastic bag in that situation, or they would have to charge for a paper bag that they provide. So I think stores that do both are going to have to deal with that on a case-by-case basis, I think.
So a chicken box would fall under this, or how would that?
Again, I think they would need to make the argument, or they, it's something I think that's going to have to be tested and put into place, and perhaps, and I know that PAI already has some regulations that are pending, that they have drafted. So I think some of these issues are going to have to be fleshed out as we move forward.
Is it possible, do you think, in your estimation, I guess, or maybe it's from Mr. Gutwald, that could be flushed out between I think we have kind of a grace period between November and February. And so if we find out that this is working or not working between that time, I guess there would be time to address that.
I think you're right. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks.
Any additional questions or comments on Bill 72-23? There a motion to approve Bill 72-23?
You approve?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall,
Aye.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Catch, Mr. Marks,
Aye.
Mr. Ertel.
Ayes have it. Bill 72-23 is passed. The Secretary, next item, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 73-23. This bill is sponsored by the Chairman, Councilman Jones. Bring Your Own Bag Act, liquor store exemption.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We named the bill liquor store exemption, but it probably should have been liquor store clarification. I know initially in the bill, we made provisions for small businesses, mom and pop shops who own one establishment in Baltimore County. And at that particular time, we then went on to exclude the liquor stores from that provision for that exemption. And then between then and now, a few small business owners came to me and expressed their concern with the fact that they were excluded and they didn't feel like they did or they should have been excluded. In fact, one of the small business owners told me he'd been in business for 40 years and he proudly made the decision to give paper bags and have been doing so ever since. And he didn't like the fact that we, the government, was going to make him nickel and dime his customers by charging them for a paper bag that he had been giving them for 40 years. Since that time, we heard from quite a few others that complained about them being basically removed from the Ma and Pa exemption for small business. So, that said, we put forth this legislation to put them in the same category with every other Ma and Pa establishment that we excluded in the first place. People that own less than, I think the original bill said less than 3 establishments or 3 locations. Is that correct?
I believe 3 or less.
Yes. And the gentleman that came before us during the testimony explained to us that state law says he can only own 1 establishment. So he can't even own 3 like some others that will be excluded. So that said, we put this bill forward, and I would ask my colleagues to support the bill. Are there any questions or comments from the members? None? I will move the bill. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 73-23.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Marks?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Bill 73-23 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next is Bill 74-23, sponsored by Councilman Marks, zoning regulations, uses permitted, manufacturing light zone and manufacturing heavy zone.
Councilman Marks?
Very much. Bill 7423 adds certain uses in the manufacturing light zone under certain circumstances, specifically under the bill for a qualifying tract, any use that is permitted by right or by special exception ML zone, manufacturing heavy MH zone, or the industrial major IM district is permitted anywhere in the qualifying zone of the ML zone. There will be an amendment that will change the language in this to make it more of a mixed-use tool that can be used throughout the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the members? I understand there is an amendment.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. The amendment would remove the phrase "in the White Marsh area" that is in the bill, and then it would also and it would replace that in section 256.7 of the bill with zoned MLIM and MHIM rather than in the White Marsh area. And then more substantively, it would the bill had or has 3 qualifications, and the amendment would remove the qualification that the tract, a qualifying tract at its closest point, be located within 250 feet of a means of access to a highway interchange for Maryland Route 43. So it makes the bill, as Mr. Marks indicated, less narrowly focused and as a mixed-use tool for more than just the White Marsh area.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment? Is there a motion to approve the amendment to Bill 74-23? Moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment to Bill 74-23.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Ayes have it. The amendment to Bill 74-23 is passed. Are there any questions or comments from the members in reference to Bill 74-23 as amended? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve Bill 74-23 as amended? And moved? Moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 74-23 as amended.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Marks, Mr. Ertel, Mr. Crandall, Mr. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Catch.
The ayes have it. Bill 74-23 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Mr. Chairman, Bill 75-23 was withdrawn by the sponsor prior to this evening's meeting. Next would be Bill 76-23, sponsored by Councilman Catch, entitled Parking Along the Big Gunpowder Falls.
Councilman Catch?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the last 2 or 3 years, in this particular area addressed in this legislation, the Gunpowder Falls area, it has become very popular with people who want to use the Gunpowder Park, the Gunpowder River, and the hike bike trail to the point where it has caused such traffic congestion. If you take a look at, if you go up there, say in July on the weekend, you will see the road looks like a parade is happening. Looks like a parade, but it's not a parade. It's cars everywhere, people walking in the streets, etc. So it's a real mess. And I appreciate the cooperation that this council has given me and this particular area. I was approached by the police, I guess about 6 weeks ago. Were telling me that the bill that was passed some time ago in regard to Notch Cliff Road simply wasn't working because the police were handing out tickets and then the courts were throwing the tickets out, every one of them, saying that there was no parking available, so that really wasn't fair to the people that wanted to use the park. So the police came to me with a suggestion, and they asked me to put in this legislation that will allow along Notch Cliff Road for a mile from Harford Road, allows the county to install some parking places where the cars will be able to pull in and not get in the road itself, but be clear of the road completely. So that's what this bill does. Appreciate a favorable vote. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that the county has done its part in enforcing the traffic laws in that area. Now it's up to the state of Maryland to resolve the problem, bringing in more DNR police, natural resources police, people to help to educate the people that are using these facilities on what is allowed, what's not allowed, what can cause damage or does cause damage that will end up destroying these resources for people who want to visit. The state of Maryland advertises this area. As far as I'm concerned, if you're going to advertise an area like this, it's the responsibility of the state to provide the adequate resources to make sure that this area is not abused, which it is, and so that it'll be available to future generations. And in all honesty, the state does need to resolve the parking issue as well. And it's not up to Baltimore County to build a parking lot or anything of the sort. These are state facilities. Near me on Paper Mill Road, where the hike bike trail crosses Paper Mill Road. When I was at Elliott, I got the state to build a parking lot there so that people would not have to park along roads where it can be very dangerous. And that is working quite well. So the state needs to take the responsibility, find land, build a parking lot so that the people that want to visit this area will have the opportunity to park without being hassled and enjoy this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Catch. I will just echo your concerns as well. Clearly, people like using the park. Park was built for the people to enjoy, and it doesn't do them any good if they can't find a place to park their car to enjoy it. So I would urge the state to do what's necessary to find parking for people so that they don't become a hazard and or somebody to get hit or killed walking down the street. Councilman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Boswick, can you add my name to this bill? I want to
Certainly, sir.
Councilman Hatch for working on this. We share Gunpowder Falls State Park. It's over 18,000 acres in Baltimore and Harford counties. It's an incredible resource for our residents. But the problem you've mentioned has also occurred in my district, Jones Road, Bel Air Road in Perry Hall, Richland Drive in Perry Hall. These parks became very popular during the COVID pandemic. And I think the pressure may have gone down a bit, but I certainly commend you, Councilman Katz, for working on this issue and agree with all of your comments.
Mr. Chair. Yes, remarks. I today held a meeting with our state senators and delegates, urging them for this upcoming session to work to provide the resources that are needed for these 3 state facilities. All I can tell you is this cannot go on much longer. I can't begin to tell you the problems that are being caused there. And so, I mean, it is just so unsafe on their roads. It's just, it needs to be solved. So I got assurances from them. They were going to try everything they could to provide the resources that are needed so that, as the chairman said, so that people who want to use the park will have the resources available so that they will be able to use it and not harass. So, thank you.
Sure. You can put my name on it as well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions or comments from the members on Bill 76-23? Is there a motion to approve Bill 76-23?
So moved.
Moved. I'll second it. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Thank you.
Ayes have it. Bill 76-23 is passed. You're certainly welcome. Council will now consider all fiscal matters. Extensive testimony was taken at the council's work session on October the 10th. Witnesses who testified at the work session is available to restate their testimony if needed. I'll now call upon the secretary to read cover letter to fiscal matters 2 through 5, and we are separating item number 1.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Fiscal Matter 2 is a contract with Chess Mobile Health Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 3 is amendment to 3 contracts for on-call architectural design and engineering services. Fiscal Matter 4 is also 3 amendments to contracts for on-call mechanical and electrical engineering services. And Fiscal Matter 5 is 2 contracts for on-call industrial hygienist services.
Are there any questions or comments from the members on fiscal matters 2 through 5? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve fiscal matters 2 through 5?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on fiscal matters 2 through 5.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Ayes have it. Fiscal matters 2 through 5 have been approved. Mr. Secretary, please read fiscal matter number 1.
Fiscal matter number 1 is a contract with Hagerty Consulting Incorporated, American Rescue Plan Act compliance / subrecipient monitoring / grant services.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, if it please the council, I'm happy to testify on this if that'd
Sure,
be okay.
go right ahead. There's been a lot of numbers rolling around as the only number that seems to be constant is the 3.6 million. I've heard other numbers from 11 million, 15 million, 40 million to 300 and some million. So maybe you can start by explaining $3.6 million is going to audit what?
When we ask them for this information and we get it back, we then have to, as I mentioned, send this up to Treasury. And what we want to protect ourselves from is that, you know, if we didn't collect the correct type of metrics, you know, perhaps a subrecipient maybe spent more in a category than is allowable, you know, food costs, things like that. Some of these things are very nuanced in the Treasury's final rule about ARPA allowances. So we just want to make sure that when they turn all of that in and we turn it in, we've done everything to the best of our ability to make sure every dollar is spent correctly.
Now, is there a certain percent of recipients who have not responded with the information that you've required?
Everyone responds monthly and quarterly as requested, and anything that's missing, they work with us to get it if we ask for it.
Well, now, when the federal government does an audit, I mean, they're going to sample it. I mean, they're not going to go to every single vendor and look through their files. I think they're going to do a sample. Now, I don't know what percent of the recipients they'll do, but it won't be all of them, I can tell you that. And you still feel apprehensive that, I mean, despite all that your office has done, you even require them to send in the documentation or a copy of it or whatever?
Yes, we do require everything. This isn't just for the subrecipients. This compliance and this isn't just for subrecipient monitoring. This is for all 161 million, the 125 projects that the county has, not just the subrecipient projects. This compliance and monitoring would extend to all of those projects.
Wow, I'm impressed. I really am. I don't quite understand why we need this audit. I'm sorry. You know.
Because the federal government is telling us we now have to take this other level. That's why I said we weren't concerned. But they're saying that we now have to do this. This is a concern across the nation.
You either need to monitor or audit. Sounds like they monitor.
They do. That's why we don't have a concern. Our concern is not about whether they have the capacity, because they've demonstrated the capacity, but we have a new level of requirement to us, the county. And this is something that, you know, the last 3 weeks I've been with colleagues across the country who are now trying to adjust to what Treasury is now telling us to do. It's like almost changing horses in the middle of the stream after you've been doing what the team, but there's 3 people who do this. This is Ashley and 2 other people who do this. The CFR, the final regs, asked us to do even more. Why? We can't say, but I know it's a concern across the nation that Treasury's final rules is now putting more pressure on. The people who started with the contractors aren't concerned because they've been spending money. For example, Baltimore City, they have a part of the same group. What is it, Guidehouse? Is that Guidehouse? Same group. Many of the big jurisdictions, they started out with it. Now, whether they did it because they didn't trust their internal capacity, I don't know. But I know this, we felt very, very confident in our structure and, you know, the decision-making, the transparency in getting money out, and with a small staff. I mean, I'm not saying it has been easy to do, but we did it. But now we're at the point of, okay, this new requirement comes. We're about to head into budget season, which is again from December to March 30th, all hands on deck on the budget side of the house where the grants office is now.
And it seems to me that Ashley and her 2 colleagues have done a phenomenal job. I had no idea that.
They have. That's why we're saying we're not concerned, but we have to meet a requirement. The federal government is telling us we do have to do boots on the ground reviews on these things. Now, if I'm wrong about that,
You're not wrong.
You tell me I'm wrong. That's my biggest concern
Literally.
as a CAO, the workload impact to a small staff because we took the approach from day one not to bring in contractors. And now we have to do a increased level of monitoring because the federal government says we have to according to the final rules. And that's all we're saying. We had to make a decision about can we do this on top of what we're doing now?
So you are literally required to go out to these businesses or whatever.
We are required to go out to our subrecipients and
Okay,
do
great.
in-person audits. Sorry,
Was that the way it was all along?
no.
No, it was not.
Does anybody have those rules where you could read it? Where it says that you have to have boots on the ground?
I'm sure we could find the final rule for you.
Who interpreted, did our law department?
To interpret the final regs.
I believe that's the ARPA implementation team that did the final.
Who's that? I just didn't hear, I'm sorry. Did the law department decide that we needed, I mean, was certain we needed boots on the ground to go to each of these vendors?
Each one of these vendors needs to be monitored or if you are a recipient of this federal funding and you grant the funding out via a grant or loan, that it needs to be monitored. I think boots on the ground, it could be a desk audit or in cases that could be, or you go out depending on the level. For one of those pricier grants, one of the higher levels, they would probably go out in person. You have to look at payroll receipts and other documentation. And again, Ashley is a staff of 3, and they're not auditors by trade, so that would not be in their wheelhouse to really do. So that is what this company would assist in.
These, I mean, it sounds to me as if Ashley and her 2 colleagues have monitored all along that.
Well,
It seems that way to me, and
We are responsible for 32 out of the 50 some that you see. The rest go out of different departments in the county. So we have met with every county department that's responsible for at least some of these subrecipients to tell them what they need to do. But my team and I are not monitoring all 50 some of these. We are monitoring 32 of them.
now the expenditures or whatever payroll documentation, are the other county agencies then asking for the same thing?
They're required to, yes.
Okay. I don't think you would need to be an auditor to take a look at that documentation and figure out if all the documentation is there or not, the signatures or payroll, but, you know, that's just my opinion. But I honestly impressed me with what you're requiring of these vendors. You know, I honestly don't see a reason to do this. It's my opinion. And again, I want to compliment you on what you've done because you've done a lot more than I got the impression that you have done. And I do appreciate it. It seems as though you are watching to make sure that the taxpayers' dollars are spent properly and that the documentation is in place. And I appreciate that.
I do want to reiterate that this is 11 million out of 161 million, which the rest of it, my team and I do not oversee. This spans across the county. So the work that Haggerty would do would be to help with compliance and monitoring, not just for the 11 million that we've given out to sub-grantees so far, but for all of the projects that the county undertakes in ARPA funding.
Well, that being the case, I would sure, it doesn't sound like you even need advice from the audit office. You know what you're doing. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you. And I appreciate the job you do.
One quick question, then I'll let my councilman Marks ask. Just a point of clarification. You say right now you have to go out and monitor these places. Would one visit suffice?
I can't answer that. It would depend on the project.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. Thank you for appearing. I understand the federal reporting requirements. I am concerned about one of the items that was unveiled, and it's the South Baltimore Gateway Community Impact District Management Authority. We gave $6.6 million to this organization for improvements to the Middle Branch. I've looked on a map here, and I don't see where the Middle Branch impacts Baltimore County. It's South Baltimore. I think 5 of the 7 of us here represent districts that touch other counties. I have no problem with coordinating with other counties, but I don't see where this $6.6 million in funding impacted anything bordering Baltimore County. Can someone please get back to us on that? I mean, I looked at the website, and the website talks about
We can get back to
it
you.
extends from Curtis Bay and Brooklyn in the south to Cherry Hill, Lakeland, Westport, Mount Winans, and South St. Paul, west of the border, north to Carroll, Camden, Bigtown, all these places in Baltimore City. I don't see any benefit to Baltimore County.
Councilman, I don't believe, off the top of my head, I don't believe that Middle Branch flows into Baltimore County waterways.
I mean,
We don't care about.
Herring Run would be, I can think of many tributaries that cross county borders where this money would have been really valuable. Herring Run. So I don't have a problem with federal reporting.
Right.
I understand it, but that project doesn't seem,
Council Marks, we're happy to give you the details of what was submitted in terms of what they were to do for Baltimore County. We're happy to provide you with that detail.
I mean, maybe there's some sort of trading system, right? I know we have that with our environmental regulations, but I'm curious to know what this money went on.
Get information.
We're happy to look into it for you and provide you with the details as to what they were to or are to do for us, because that is a requirement of the ARPA funding.
It's $6.6 million.
We're happy to give you the background information on it, not a problem.
Yes. No, go right ahead.
I probably concerned with this particular contract. I'll just make it quick. I was just doing some simple math. So 3 million is for ARPA-related expenditures or grants or whatever. So, 3 million. So it's a 12-month and change contract. So if you just do some round numbers, 3 million divided by 12 months is $250,000 a month. That is some very expensive boots on the ground. I mean, are we giving them Teslas to drive around Baltimore County in to the recipients? I mean, $250,000 a month. And I just find it hard to believe that the folks that would be hired under this contract are of such a special set of abilities that we need to spend $250,000 a month for auditing, reporting, and compliance issues. So to me, $250,000 a month seems like an awful lot of money to go out and inspect things that we've already had oversight on. Leave it at that. Now, I do have a question, is that the contract is 3.6 million, so 600,000 spelled out in the fiscal note is for unrelated, non-ARPA related expenditures, correct?
Yes.
So that in the fiscal note, it seems like it's fairly, that $600,000 is fairly open-ended. And I'm not going to read the fiscal note, but that was not defined. And then I asked the question during the work session regarding a statement that was in the fiscal note that said that Department of Housing Community Development was using this particular contractor, the consulting firm, for affordable housing development and I guess some sort of financial arrangement, if I remember that statement. I mentioned that in the work session. We didn't really hear about that. So it's the $600,000 that is non-ARPA related activities. Is that for Department of of housing and community development? Or what is that 600,000 for? That is direct, coming out of the direct county funds, if I'm not.
So, Councilman, to your first question, the entire contract, it's a 3-year, 2.5-month contract to end up.
Sorry, I thought it was 1 year. Okay.
Okay. So, never mind. So, in relation to the DHCD, again, if you remember, the 16 million of ARPA funding was moved over to the Housing Opportunity Fund, which now will require some type of sub-vendor monitoring, of which this could be a part of. They also have housing stability services and other grant components of the initial ARPA pot that would need theoretically monitoring services for this. Again, this is a max 3.6, and I would love to come in 1.5, and it might be, but again, this is the request based on the scope of service. So, and the 600, it is on the fiscal note under the county section, but again, if we want to leverage external funding to the best extent possible. And a prime example could be, with FEMA reimbursement funding that FEMA was giving out, or you could submit during the height of the COVID pandemic. And, I was a deputy at the time, and we had an opportunity to do it in-house. And we did do it in-house, and I pulled 3 people, and for years they worked on submitting these projects in the federal government, and we got $12 million. Do I think that's good? I was very happy with it, but when it turns out other counties received a lot more that engaged external consultants, I know this is a little bit different, but that's kind of, at the time, if I had said I could spend, I'm making it up, $2 million, but I could get you 20, different scenario. But I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at this point. I bring up the 315,000 again because we did really well with CARES and FEMA, I feel like, and now we're at this point because ARPA is not just, CARES was get it out the door, you need this now, here's what it is. ARPA is supposed to be thought out. It's got heavy data metrics around it. You have to prove your outcomes. It's, again, as Madam Mayo said, ever changing with the final rule. So, at this point, I would love to say, that 600,000, it is under the county portion. Again, it is a placeholder for if another department comes in and says, geez, I could get this transportation grant for $4 million, but it's from the federal government. And it's going to require all these things that we would have the ability. And the good news, when you get a lot of this federal money, they do give you these overhead costs to pay for some of these services. And it would only make sense that they do that. So that's just really just a placeholder.
I think I get the gist of what you're saying, Mr. Reed. I understand ARPA is its own animal, and it's a significant amount of money, more significant than the other federal grants that the county has sought and captured throughout the years, right? I mean, we rely on federal funds for a lot of different things in Baltimore County. So with that said, I do feel that this is not something new for us. We do know how to attract federal funds. So I'm not sure if we need, and I'll do the math again, so you corrected me, rightly so. We're looking at 36 months on the contract and some change, not 12 months. It's still $83,000 a year, max, right? Or about $83,000 a month, I'm sorry. Geez, I was an English major. But so it just seems like, it's $83,000 a month or $3 million over 36 months. It seems like an awful lot of money to learn how to go after federal money when we know how to do it in the first place. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
I totally understand what you're saying as well, and it is as Madam AO said in our work session, that this is to some extent risk mitigation, looking out to the future, which is kind of what you were talking about. So I think I get it on a certain level, but I have some serious concerns as to the dollar amount, if this is the right firm to be doing this, and whether it's whether this is a real necessity, considering Councilman Catch's point that we seem to already have a handle on how to monitor
and, and have our recipients come into compliance. So, I'm just, so you can understand, I'm sort of torn here, and I do have concerns about us moving forward in this way. I'm done, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Marks.
Very briefly, I misspoke. We all represent districts that border other jurisdictions. Wasn't thinking clearly there, but. All set.
Okay, are there any additional questions or comments from the members? Okay. Is there a motion to approve fiscal matter number 1?
Motion to approve fiscal matter number 1.
Is there a second? Second. Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones,
Nay.
Mr. Marks,
Aye.
Mr. Ertel, Mr. Crandall,
No.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Catch.
The nays have it. Fiscal matter 1 is not approved. The chair will now consider all miscellaneous items. Mr. Secretary, first item, please.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, whenever a contract over $25,000 is awarded by a process other than formal competitive bid, it is required that a copy of the contract be given to the county council and the nature and parties to the contract be announced by the secretary at the next legislative session following award. There are 6 such contract agreements this evening. The first is a supplier contract with InfoSense Incorporated. This is a contract for the purchase, service, repair, and maintenance of to maintain the Sirline Rapid Assessment Tool, or SLRAT, through InfoSense Incorporated. InfoSense is the sole manufacturer and supplier of this. Estimated 5-year award total of $100,000. Second is a supplier contract with Mainstar Incorporated for a software annual subscription. Mainstar is the manufacturer of this software and is the sole provider of ongoing licensing, maintenance, and support for this product. 5-year estimated award total $300,000. Next is a purchase order with Carpel Solutions. Carpel is an industry. This is for the purchase of software license for maintenance and support of existing court case management software. Carpel is an industry-leading criminal case management system, document generation, and e-discover system. Award total is $96,550. The next is a purchase order with Gray Shift LLC. Gray Shift's Gray Shift's Gray Key device and software allows the forensics unit of the police department to specifically unlock Apple mobile devices, even if password protected, and it is the only device that has this ability. Award total of $50,595. Purchase order. Next is a purchase order with Thermo Electron North America LLC. Thermo Electron is the sole provider and manufacturer of Thermodynamics IC. And the estimated award total is $72,462.33. And then finally is a purchase order with AC Service and Repair Incorporated. AC Service and Repair is the sole cone valve repair facility in the Northeast region of the U.S. that can repair a Rodney Hunt cone valve. And the award total is $100,400.
What was the last one?
The actual company name is AC Service and Repair Incorporated.
$100,000.
$100,000, $100,400.
And what was that for?
It is for the purchase of one refurbished cone valve and repair of failing cone valve for the Texas Sewerage Pumping Station. And this company is said to be the sole cone valve repair facility Patel, Marks, Young, Jones, and Catch, the Baltimore County Council Structure Review Work Group.
Okay, are they, let me start with Councilman Patoka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to my colleagues and everyone that participated in a rather robust work session regarding the establishment of a work group to look at the construct of the Baltimore County Council today and how it should look moving forward. The resolution identifies 13 members, 3 to be appointed by the county executive, 1 appointed by each of the council members, 1 representative to be appointed by the planning board from the Baltimore County, county council, from the Baltimore County Planning Board, 1 representative to be appointed by the county council from an area college or university with an expertise in political science or government, 1 representative appointed by the county council with an expertise in demographics, and then 2 ex officio members, 1 designated by the county executive and the other designated by the county council, and those 2 designees will serve as staff for the work group. And the work group is asked to do 4 things, and it's pretty discrete. These 4 things are: 1, to research the composition of peer legislative bodies in the state of Maryland and also nationwide. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to review demographic data and trends for Baltimore County and the state of Maryland. Number 3, obtain data on potential taxpayer costs associated with a potential increase in the number of council members. And then number 4, any other thing that the work group deems necessary to do a fair evaluation. The resolution asks that the work group meet once per month, convene a public hearing, consider input from the public, and submit a written report to the county council by March 31st of 2024. So I'm really pleased that we got to this point. Like I said, we had good level of participation at the work session, and looking forward to discussion and a vote this evening. So thank you to the co-sponsors, and thanks for everyone who participated.
Thank you, Councilman Patoka. Are there any additional questions or comments from the members? Yes.
Somebody recommended by the
It doesn't define how that recommendation comes about, but it does clearly state that it's someone that would be appointed by the county council. So it's really up to this governing body to decide how we recruit, how we vet, but we have to do it to meet the time frame of what's stipulated in the legislation. We have to move rather quickly, but that process is not defined in this legislation, so it's up for us to determine.
But obviously, we would go to the college for a recommendation, I would think, and the Department of Planning for a recommendation.
Certainly, but the planning board member is someone that either we appointed, we each have 1 appointment, or one of the 8 that the county executive appointed. So it'd be one of those 15 members. And yes, absolutely, we could reach out to local colleges, or perhaps one of the members or many of the members may know someone who has that level of expertise and meets the qualifications that are stipulated in the resolution.
Well, I don't think anybody on this council is qualified to recommend anybody in this area of planning.
You got me there. Thank you, Councilman Catch, for your astute comments.
Yeah. You think so? You think people know?
Maybe Councilman Ertel could help me with that.
Did you know?
When Councilman Patoka was a planner,
He was a planner?
he was a planner. It's unbelievable, actually.
Councilman Patoka and Councilman Catch knows what he's talking about because I believe he was a member of the state legislature.
Well, more recently, I've been reading a document just called Draft,
I have that same document, sir.
Okay. Where are we? Yes. Mr. Boswick, is there an amendment to Resolution 3223?
I believe there is, Mr. Chairman. The chairman, your Councilman Jones, I believe, is offering an amendment to the resolution. The amendment would be at page 2 of the resolution. After the second the second be it resolved paragraph that sets forth the composition of the work group with the various bullet points. Bullet point number 1, Mr. Jones would offer an amendment that would amend the appointees from the county executives from 3 appointees to 1 appointee.
Thank you, Mr. Boswick. Bottom line is, I think in order to have a fair and impartial work group, I think it's important that we have the proper composition. The county executive has been extremely outspoken about what he thinks we should do, so I don't think he needs 3 members to tell us again. Are there any additional questions or comments on the amendment?
The comment on the amendment, so the concern I would have with that amendment is that it reduces the opportunity for a broader perspective and the level of participants in the work group. I don't know, that concerns me. And it's, I've spoken to many people that are interested in this, and I just have concerns with reducing that number. It keeps it rather parochial rather than having a broader level of consensus and thoughts on a pretty important matter.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I would bring up a counterpoint to Councilman Patoka in that Mr. Chair, you alluded to this, that the county executive has been outspoken on this particular issue. And the study group, as I understand it, even though I don't support expansion of the council, is going to be charged with looking at different options. And I would assume that one of their options is to keep the county council at 7 districts and 7 members. And if one of our appointees or the county executive's appointee or appointees, if your amendment should fail, that their minds have already been made up as far as what the conclusion that they would like to see the study group come to. So with that in mind, I support your amendment, and I hope that's a fairly well articulated counterpoint to Councilman Patoka's point. Not sure if it was, but I hope that it was.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions or comments from the members?
I do have another comment, Councilman. Yes. Okay, Chairman. So just in the development of the resolution, I think that it was there was good interaction between the council members each of the council members had a certain interest that they were concerned about. And in trying to develop the resolution, we tried to incorporate each of the members' particular area of interest into this resolution. And over the past, 6 weeks, it's been carefully crafted to try to address the concerns of all 7 of the council members. And I feel that kind of getting an amendment at 5:51 at a 6 o'clock meeting to be carefully reviewed, I just don't think that has been done within the spirit of the rest of the resolution as it's been crafted to include all of the views of the members.
Thank you, Councilman Patoka. I guess the issue is the makeup of the county council is a legislative issue. falls under the preview of each and every one of us as members to decide whether or not we should expand the council, keep it the same, or what have you. And I just think in order to keep it fair and keep it here, this will be a proper makeup of the work group.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't see it. I didn't see the amendment. Probably because it came right before. I appreciate the conversation now, but in the context of the entire bill, I don't have enough information to, support it at the moment. I wish we would have had a conversation since the work group about the amendment. I know that we've had multiple discussions about concerns related to what this opens up, but not about a particular amendment. So I just want to point out that while I appreciate the discussion at this point, I don't feel I'm gaining enough information to make be in support of the amendment as it stands at the moment. I just haven't had the time to take a look at it. I wish we would have seen it before, and we would have had a discussion prior to the meeting.
Okay. Are there any additional questions or comments from the members on the amendment? I will make the motion to approve the amendment. Is there a second? Second. Been moved in second. The secretary, please call a roll on the amendment.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Catch, Mr. Patoka,
Nay.
Mr. Marks,
No.
Mr. Ertel, Mr. Crandall,
Aye.
Mr. Young.
No.
The ayes have it. The amendment is passed. Are there any additional questions or comments on Resolution 32-23 as amended? Yes. Councilman Marks?
I wrote a letter to the Baltimore Sun this weekend in which I noted that in 2015, I thought the council should look at its structure and that the demographics have changed in this county. I am certainly not against studying anything, right? I mean, we ultimately make the decisions here, and there's no harm in studying an important issue like this. The resolution doesn't talks about structure and not just enlargement, structure. I think that's important. Councilman Patoka brought up that we each have specific issues, and I've outlined my concerns about the need for political diversity. We heard a lot of speakers here on Tuesday talk about the need for other types of diversity. I think we function pretty well as a body that has people from different political ideologies and different political parties. And I think we've avoided some of the mistakes that other jurisdictions have made, whether they're dominated by Republicans or dominated by Democrats. And I will just remind everyone that to get this onto the ballot for approval by the voters, it requires one Republican vote. And everything we've done in terms of charter changes over the years has been bipartisan, and I hope we embrace that spirit moving forward. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, my colleagues, and that is going to be something I'm going to be looking at very carefully over the next few months.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I just wanted to say, I was on an ad hoc committee that was organized by several different residents of Baltimore County back in 2015, and we looked at this issue. We had, at the time, looked at a 9-member council, how that would look. And one of the things that we found back then was that the charter did not address population growth. It just said there shall be 7 council people. So that is the crux of some of this issue as well, is that the charter in 1955 did not address this, and here we are in 2024 almost. We're still, operating with that very vague clause in the charter. So we're hoping that the study group will address that one way or the other going forward.
Councilman Ertel, you bring up a very interesting point, and I was sitting here listening to you, and I was thinking to myself, it would be interesting to know, why did the charter members arrive at a number of 7. And we all are making an assumption that people have brought forth to us. We're making the assumption that 7 was a result of the population. May not necessarily be the case. Clearly, when this country was formed, we decided to have a certain government that we still have today. 2 senators per state, certain number of congressmen, and as the population shifts, they shift, but they don't grow. So it's interesting. We assume that it was because of population. We really don't know. And I would charge Mr. Adam Phillips, Mr. Boswick, just for nostalgia's sake, to go back and look at those notes that came along with the charter and see if there is anything written in the side as to why they did come up with 7.
We can certainly review that. We do have commentary from when the charter was put together back in the day in 1956. So we have some, I forget exactly what they're called, but basically the commentator's notes. So we will review that.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Any additional questions or comments from the members? Clearly, I signed on because I think a study of the item is important. I think we should, before we do anything, we should have all the information in front of us as to the ramifications of what we're doing. And I think that's appropriate. And because I think it's important to have all the information before you make a decision. Any additional questions or comments from the members? A motion to approve Resolution 32-23 as amended.
Motion.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 32-23 as amended.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch? Mr. Marks? Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Ayes have it. Resolution 32-23 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Resolution 33-23, sponsored by Councilman Ertel, MDE, or Maryland Department of the Environment, Historic East Towson, Environmental Impact of Herring Run Headwaters. And this resolution is for introduction only this evening.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor to this resolution.
Yes, sir.
Boswick, I'm a co-sponsor as well.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, sir.
I would put myself on it, but I can't remember what the resolution, what it was. What is it?
It is a resolution. It essentially asks the Maryland Department of the Environment to study the environmental impact of the Herring Run headwaters on further the development in the historic East Towson area.
Okay, I definitely will think about that one. Okay, is there any further business to come before the council before we adjourn?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second. Been moved and seconded. Meeting is adjourned. As is customary, anyone who is registered to speak prior to the meeting is allowed 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Belcastro, I understand we have a couple of speakers.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Zachary Taylor registered to speak, but Mr. Taylor does not appear to be on the WebEx.
All right, Mr. Taylor, if you're there, going once, going twice. Okay, Mr. Taylor, if you appear, please call in, email in, do whatever to get our attention, and we'll allow you to speak. Next person, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly. Our next speaker is Wesley Mullinax. Mr. Mullinax, you are on as a panelist. You may unmute yourself and begin your testimony.
Thank y'all for having me. Good evening. My name is Wes Mullinax. I'm a National Accounts Director at Bunzl. Bunzl is a multinational distribution and outsourcing company. We are experts in disposable goods and food packaging. Our goal is to be seen as socially, environmentally responsible organization. We inspire to provide solutions to comply with local code, and at the same time for retailers multiple options at price points that make economic sense. And the reason I wanted to join this evening is I had some retailers, some grocery stores, calling about the carryout bags, and I'm here on their behalf. I got a call from someone that used conventional plastic front end bags that we're all familiar with. They're T-sacks, very thin. We see them blown around the streets, and obviously these will certainly need to be replaced. But we have other retailers that are currently on environmentally responsible bags. And depending on the language of the code, they may or may not be compliant. So when I got a call from a retailer that uses this type of environmentally responsible bag, he said, "Hey, did my proactive choice in choosing this bag, is it compliant with this language?" My immediate answer was yes, 100%. But later on that evening, as I read the language, it made me less confident. So my goal today is to try to confirm and understand the current language. And if it's up for discussion, offer any of my expertise I may be able to offer, so the language may be reconsidered and less confusion and increased compliance. I use my expertise, that language loosely, but I do know enough to be dangerous. And I feel like we have, I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't share my companies and my knowledge and experience of other counties like Baltimore County that may have already started making these moves and try to mitigate any of the lessons they had to learn the hard way. And so I say all of that, and I was hoping that we would be able to have an opportunity to go to the language of the code and ensure that I understand what the county is looking for. Is this an opportunity, is this a forum that gives me that opportunity to kind of discuss that language?
Thank you, Mr. Mullinax. We heard bits and pieces of your testimony.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Here, it appeared to be choppy at best.
Oh,
The audio seemed to be loud. In the past, I was able to turn on my laptop and hear, when we had problems last week, I was able to turn on the laptop and hear clear audio. This week, what I got off the laptop was the same thing that I hear coming out of the speakers. So it sounds like there was an issue on your end. So I'm going to give you another chance to try to speak up, and don't go over your whole testimony, but just give us the Reader's Digest version, see if we can hear you.
of course, yeah, I apologize. How does it sound right now? I'm on these calls often, and usually it works just fine. Does it sound okay?
Yes. Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I'd like to bring attention to the language in the current carryout bag that's acceptable. The language states that it's a stitched handled bag, cloth or washable fabric. It then states a durable material suitable for multiple reuse that's not made of plastic film, except for plastic film with a thickness greater than 2.6 milliliters. And I imagine that language is supposed to actually be mil, a thousandth of an inch, not milliliters. But is that correct? Is that the current language in the code?
Sir, you bring up a very good point. That was, you're absolutely correct. That's what was in the bill initially. And then we passed another bill today to clean that up. But you're right that that is what the initial bill said in terms of reusable bags being, on one hand, having a stitch, on the other hand, being made of plastic of a certain thickness.
Okay.
And that was changed today to 2.5 mil, which is the California standard and is standard by others. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it's 2.25. Is it 2.5 or did I hear you wrong?
2.25, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes, sir. And when the language says mill, it usually insinuates a t-shirt bag of a certain thickness of polyethylene. The New Jersey code initially stated stitch only, and then they went back and used the terminology t-shirt bags greater than 2.25. That would be more of a loop handle that they're all familiar with, but it's a much thicker bag that meets the legal definition of reusable. And I was wanting to make sure that when it says 2.25, that the county is agreeing that a polyethylene bag of 2.25 or greater is acceptable, or does it have to be stitched as well?
Ooh, I don't think it has to, go ahead, Mr. Boswick.
As you were about to say, Mr. Chairman, by virtue of the bill that was passed this evening, which clarified that issue, it does not need to be stitched. It needs to be at least 2.25 mil in thickness, but it can be of the type where the handle is basically built into the bag, rather than needing a stitched handle.
Wonderful.
The ones that are fabric of some kind still need to be stitched.
Yes, sir. Completely understand. It makes sense now. The current language is on the website. It almost sounds like it's stitched handles and it has to be 2.25 mil. I would just recommend, making that look like the bullet part points aren't underneath stitch, so it doesn't look like stitched and 2.6 would be my only recommendation.
Okay, so thank you so much for your comments, Mr. Mullinex. And if you don't mind, I just have one quick question. Do you represent some type of industry?
Yes, I represent a company called Bunzl, and we're a multinational distribution company that are experts in food packaging and disposable goods. We service grocery stores all over the country, Walmart, many many retailers in your county. And I just wanted to make sure when I presented them options that they're compliant with you all.
Okay. Do you have any additional questions?
No, and I appreciate all the time. Thank you for your
I have a
patience.
question for Mr.
Wait a
Mullen.
minute, wait 1 second, Mr. Mullinex. Councilman Batoka has a question for you.
Yes, Mr. Mullen,
Yes, sir.
are you a Baltimore County resident?
I am not.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yes.
It's Missouri. That's why I asked the question.
Thank you all for your time.
Sure, thank you so much. Any additional questions or comments from the members before we adjourn? Nope. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to reiterate, I know you all are very frustrated by the sound and the performance of the equipment, and believe me, we are working on it. We did not expect some of these more elementary bugs, but the vendor is coming in, I think, later this week to resolve them. So my apologies to all of you and to the public.